a weight class sport and it's pretty close to game time, that's a bit different, but I'm structuring this talk specifically around not cutting weight until the absolute end. Because the majority of your training time here, if you're a fighter, is not spent cutting weight. The majority of your time training is training and getting better at your skills. And there's people in this room that might never fight, and I still want to make this super applicable to you all too. But as someone that does compete, most of my time is spent trying to maintain a caloric level of balance, where I'm not going up too much, I'm not dropping down too much, I'm trying to maintain my performance. Cool. How do you know how many calories you should eat per day? That's a really tough one, and most people are like, I don't fucking know. My Apple Watch says something, my Garmin says something, online says something. There are equations that you can do for that. The Cunningham equation is like a fairly popular one. I'm sorry that's not coming out super well. But the Cunningham equation is the one that I pulled up, and it's kind of a better one because it accounts for your body index in terms of fat and muscle mass and your daily activity level. So that can kind of be a little bit more accurate. So just using myself as an example, I put in that I'm roughly like 13 to 15% body fat, and I'm fairly active for my job. So it's telling me that I should roughly consume 2,900 calories per day. If I can, yeah, because I move a lot too. Now, you could plug yourself in, and I do recommend everyone plugs in Cunningham equation. Let's see what happens, see what number comes out for you. Only way to know if that's a good amount of calories for you is to actually try it. So I'd recommend that you eat that amount of calories for 2 weeks and see what happens. If you go up weight, great, I guess it was a surplus. If you go down on weight, great, I guess it was a deficit. If you're fucking hungry, it's most certainly a deficit. If you stay the same, cool, well, there's a calorie balance. But that's the easiest way to DIY it. You go online, get your numbers, cool, try that, try it for 2 weeks, see what happens. You go up, now you know, you go down, now you know. But otherwise, the easiest way to DIY it is pick your own number. Let's say 2,500. Stick to that for a week or two. Are you starving? Probably not enough food. Does your performance in the gym feel terrible? Like you're hitting pads and you're like, I'm gassed after 1 minute? Probably not great. Or if you're like, I fucking feel great and I feel like I can run through walls and stuff, you might be in a bit of a surplus. It's the easiest way to DIY your calories. I said the word calorie a fuckload. What do you actually use your calories for most of the time? Or what takes up the majority of the calories that you expend per day? Does anyone know? Not Marissa, because I know she knows. Your brain takes up a fuckload of calories, that's right. Go one level deeper. Your basal metabolic rate, exactly. Cool. What is your basal metabolic rate? This is the autonomous stuff that I all talked about, all these organ subsystems. So your brain takes up a ton of calories. What happens if your brain does not get enough calories? You die. So that's a very permanent solution to weight loss. It works once, I'll tell you that much. So your heart takes up a load of calories, your liver takes up a load of calories, digestion takes up a load of calories too. That's your body's main source of survival. And if you're looking at this chart right here, you will see that 70% of your daily calories roughly is taken up by your basal metabolic rate or things that you do not control. They are autonomous systems that you can't really influence. That's more than half of your daily calorie expenditure just from that. That's crazy when you think about that. Because all we do is talk about exercise. You guys got to eat perfectly, you got to exercise all the time, and then you get a six-pack and get jacked. I don't know, dude. That might not be the case when you're really looking at how we use the most of our calories per day. Is that kind of shocking to a lot of people? Yeah. When I learned that too, I was like, that's bullshit. I can just outwork it. Maybe not. The second most influential thing on your calories is what's called your NEAT, or your non-exercise related activity. NEAT is you walking around the house, cleaning, cooking, walking to work, taking the stairs, fidgeting. That's all NEAT. You can actually pretty much tell who's good on calories and who's bad on calories by their NEAT. If I see people that are fidgeting all the time and they're like kind of moving all this stuff, you're probably good on calories. You probably have enough calories to expend some extra energy. I'm sure everyone can attest when they've dieted in this room, you don't feel like doing anything. It's actually much harder for you to even get up off the couch because your NEAT is going to down-regulate when you're in a caloric deficit, but it's probably going to go up when you're eating enough calories to move more. So that's the second most consequential thing on your daily calories, is not exercise. That's also kind of surprising for a lot of people, especially in this room because we all work out super hard. A lot of you just worked out for like over 2 hours today. And that felt really, really hard. But think of it like this. If I made you all walk around Manhattan at a leisurely pace for 2 hours, would you feel as tired as you did after training? If you did, you have serious problems. You need help. That makes no sense. So no, you'd be able to sustain non-exercise for a long time. On that note, what people do you think have really high amounts of non-exercise related activity in terms of like calorie burn? What types of people, what jobs? Construction, anything manual labor, farmers. Their NEAT is through the roof. Remember that later. The third one after that is called the thermic effect of food. Basically it costs calories to eat calories. I won't go into this in super detail, but some foods are very thermic, meaning that they burn very quickly and they metabolize very quickly. Highly processed foods are extremely thermic, or like say smoothies and stuff like that. They're very thermic, meaning that they're very easy for your body to ingest and boop, I have energy now. Foods that are not very thermic, meaning that they cost more calories to digest, things like whole foods. That's why people are always talking about eat whole foods, eat brown, eat stuff like that. It actually costs more calories for you to digest healthier foods like that than it does for you to like consume like a Twinkie. That's pretty cool. That's the third most consequential thing in your daily calories. What's the least consequential on your daily calories? Exercise. That feels like a big slap in the face to everyone here, doesn't it? Yeah. That kind of sucks. Because when you think about it, how hard do you guys all work here? You work super hard. But you're probably burning way more of your calories from everything that's not that. So this is going to lead us to a very important question. Can you outwork a bad diet? Can you outwork a bad diet? This is a very loaded question on purpose. There's no wrong answers. Hands up if you think you can outwork a bad diet. Hands up if you don't think you can outwork a bad diet. Okay, Matt. Doesn't really depend on age. That one kind of sucks. I'm going to say no. Based on the last chart, I'm going to say no. Your best chance of outworking a bad diet, we'll talk about what that might mean in a second, is from doing a ton of non-exercise related activity. Farmers, construction. How many of you guys have ever like done manual labor? Cool. Yeah, I did that when I first came to America. Most guys that do manual labor will have a 6-pack of PBR and 2 burritos, and they will stay fucking weight stable all the time. And that's like their lunch. And then they go drive a truck. They move so much more and they don't really exercise, but they manage to actually stay weight stable. They expend way more calories than, hands up if you work in an office. Of the people that are sedentary, do you all wish that you moved around a little bit more throughout the day? I've never met a single person who said no. If you do, that's kind of tough. So I do think for the most part, you cannot outwork a bad diet with exercise unless you are a freak athlete and your capacity for exercise is super high. Those people, and you will see a ton of fighters like this, and this is why calories are so confusing for people. You see a bunch of really high level athletes that are, let's say, black belts in fighting, and they're like white belts in nutrition. What do they eat after training? A few beers and some like fried chicken and like, you know, some cake and stuff like that. And you look at them, it's like, how do you look like so ripped and how do you perform so well all the time? Those are the few people that are so good at producing high amounts of work, high like output in the gym, that they actually can eat a bad, not health-focused diet